I don't know if you can relate, but when I get mad, I get critical. There have been so many times I've sniped at my wife and made a bad situation worse. But I've learned a way to overcome it when I can remember to do it. That's what I want to share with you today. I'm Todd, your marriage coach, and this is the second of our 5-part series on relationship conflict traps. Today we're talking about what might be the most common trap of all: criticism and blaming. We're going to break down exactly why we fall into this trap so easily, the damage it causes, and most importantly, how to break free and replace criticism with healthier communication. If you ever hear yourself saying stuff like, "You never think about anyone but yourself," or "If you really loved me, you wouldn't do this," then you have fallen into this trap. Some other telltale phrases are, "You always," "You never," and "Why are you so?" Basically, it's when you go after your partner's character rather than addressing the actual issue at hand. Because criticism is when we attack the person rather than addressing the real problem. Now, this trap is a sneaky one because it often disguises itself as, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm sharing a concern." But there's a crucial difference between a concern and criticism. A concern, which is healthy, is, "I was worried when you were late and didn't call. I need more communication when our plans change." Criticism, which is unhealthy, is, "You're late again? I can't believe how selfish you are. You never consider how your actions affect others." That's the problem. Criticism turns a behavior into a character flaw. That's why in his letter to the church, James in chapter 4 wrote, "Do not criticize one another." So why do we do it? Well, I think stress plays a major role. When you're overwhelmed, our capacity for thoughtful communication diminishes dramatically. It's way easier to blurt out, "You never help around here," than to pause and consider a more constructive approach. The irony is that criticism rarely achieves what we want. Like if your goal is to get the other person to change their behavior, then criticism is actually one of the least effective strategies because criticism creates resistance rather than receptivity. It's like in football. Well, one team's on offense, the other team's automatically on defense. The same is true in our relationships. When we criticize and go on the offensive, our partner naturally becomes defensive. Never once have you gone off on somebody when they cut you off in traffic and had them respond, "Point taken, sir. I'm touched by your concern for my driving. I very much appreciate you pointing out my error and for that hand gesture as well." No, the other person never responds by moving in your direction because nobody responds well to character attacks. That includes your spouse. Criticism doesn't create change, it creates distance. So again, why do we do it? Here's the deal. Behind most criticism is an unexpressed need. So that's where we've got to look for our solution. How to better recognize and express that need. So when you catch yourself about to criticize, instead of making a "you" statement, try using a specific type of "I" statement. "I feel this when that because I need this." This allows you to express how you feel about a specific situation rather than generalizing about your partner's character. So instead of "You never help with the kids, you're so selfish," try "I feel overwhelmed and alone when I'm handling all the bedtime routines. I need more support in the evenings." This exercise is not about censoring your concerns and never expressing them. It's about expressing them in a way they can actually be heard and preserving your connection. Small changes in wording can create massive shifts in response. And let me add an important tip. When you do this, focus on one specific issue rather than bringing up patterns or past grievances. A guy once told me, "Every time I do something wrong, my wife gets historical." And I was like, "You mean hysterical?" He says, "No, she gets historical. She brings back up every mistake I've ever made." Don't do that. Deal with what's happening now, not what happened then. Remember, the goal is not perfect communication, it's understanding. Every criticism you convert into a more constructive expression is a win for your relationship. Your words create your relationship's atmosphere, so choose them wisely.